if you believe that these doctors or faculty members have been deliberately targeted, so what do you think could have been a reason behind it?
I think I spoke with a couple of students there, and they were very clear that these were the uh, faculty who were very much supportive of the strike by the students and resident doctors. And this is an order which has never happened in the recent past. So I think this definitely is a vindictive measure which is being done by the state government to suppress the voices who are trying to protest.
नमस्ते। मैं इस वक्त दिल्ली के एम्स हॉस्पिटल में मौजूद हूं और पिछले कुछ दिनों से देश भर में जो माहौल बना हुआ है, जो प्रोटेस्ट प्रतिरोध डॉक्टर्स की तरफ से दर्ज कराया जा रहा है, ना सिर्फ दिल्ली में बल्कि देश के अलग अलग कोनों में, अलग अलग अस्पतालों से, आरडीएस की तरफ से, सीनियर डॉक्टर्स की तरफ से, जूनियर डॉक्टर्स की तरफ से, स्टूडेंट्स की तरफ से, वो प्रोटेस्ट आप लोगों तक अलग अलग माध्यम से पहुंचा। मोजो स्टोरी लगातार इस खबर को कवर कर रहा है। कोलकाता के आरजीकर मेडिकल हॉस्पिटल में जो जघन्य अपराध हम सब ने विटनेस किया, 31 साल की पीजी सेकेंड ईयर ट्रेनी डॉक्टर के साथ जो ब्रूटैलिटी की गई, रेप किया गया, उनका मर्डर हुआ, उसके बाद देश भर में विमेन सेफ्टी को लेकर, खास तौर पर मेडिकल लाइन में, मेडिकल सेक्टर के अंदर विमेन सेफ्टी और डॉक्टर्स की सेफ्टी को लेकर एक मांग उठी है। सेंट्रल प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट इस प्रोटेस्ट का केंद्र आप मान सकते हैं। लेकिन आज सुबह एक ऐसी खबर देखने को मिली जिसको चलते कंट्रोवर्सीज फिर से खड़ी होने लगी हैं। पश्चिम बंगाल में, खास तौर पर कोलकाता के अंदर 40 से ज्यादा डॉक्टर्स का एक साथ ट्रांसफर किया गया। कोलकाता जिले से बाहर निकालकर, कोलकाता जो राजधानी है बंगाल की, जहां पर प्रोटेस्ट इस वक्त सबसे ज्यादा चल रहा है, वहां से निकालकर उनको पेरी पेरी के हॉस्पिटल्स में भेजा गया। इसमें फैकल्टी मेंबर्स भी मौजूद थे और इस पूरे किस्से को लेकर अब कंट्रोवर्सी सोशल मीडिया पर एप्ट हो रही है। मेरे साथ बात करने के लिए इस वक्त डॉक्टर शुभांकर दत्ता है। आप फाइमा के वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हैं और एम्स में जो आरडीए है उसके भी वाइस प्रेसिडेंट है। सर, पहले तो बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। बिफोर आई मूव अहेड विद द प्रोटेस्ट और आप लोगों का आगे क्या प्लान्स है, आई वुड लाइक टू डिस्कस जो आज सुबह न्यूज़ पता चली, कल 40 से ज़्यादा डॉक्टर्स का ट्रांसफर किया गया है। हमने स्टूडेंट से बात की आजीकर हॉस्पिटल में, हमने सुबह शो किया। स्टूडेंट्स का ये मानना था कि सर हमें लगता है कि ये जानबूझ के किया गया ट्रांसफर है ताकि प्रोटेस्ट को डाइल्यूट किया जाए। आपका क्या टेक है इस पे?
देखिए, पहली बात तो यह है कि वी स्ट्रांगली कंडेम एनी काइंड ऑफ attack and any kind of personal vindictive mechanisms on students, doctors, and the medical fraternity who are coming in support of this.
Right.
What happened in Bengal was absolutely disgusting. A female doctor on duty was raped and murdered. I think every doctor should come out in protest of what happened. And
Right.
not only doctors, but every woman and every man of this country should come out and highlight the lack of security which is existing in this country's hospitals. Anyone who is protesting pro residents and against this injustice being meted out in West Bengal does not deserve any kind of vindictive action, especially when the government itself is saying that they also want justice for the doctor. What we saw last night was that a huge number of faculty has been transferred to peripheral colleges from Kolkata's colleges. And we have been informed by our friends and colleagues in West Bengal that this is a move by the government to thwart the protests which is happening at the faculty level. We strongly condemn any such kind of measures, and we would want that the state government takes back this order.
Also, Dr. Datta, do you find it hypocritical to some extent? Because yesterday we saw a rally from Mamata Banerjee, Honorable Chief Minister of West Bengal. She was out there on road. She was demanding for justice as soon as possible for the deceased. And today we are talking about this order, which mentions the transfer order of 40 faculties, more than 40 actually to be precise. Do you see this as a hypocritic move or some sort of hypocrisy coming from the authorities in West Bengal?
Definitely. I mean, it's very funny, number one, sadly. And it's like, I think hypocrisy is a very small term to use for this. I think the government needs to own up that it has botched up the investigation, number one. And secondly, I think they should deal with this in a very mature manner and try to avoid any kind of punitive measures against the people who are protesting for this. It is only degrading its own name if you are crying out justice for someone and then punishing those who protest in support of the deceased. So I think the West Bengal government needs to work about this more maturely and be more sensitive and supportive so that we who are fighting for this cause can get justice for our foreign colleague.
Right, absolutely. Because a few days back we saw a mob late night attack the protesters in West
Right.
Bengal. I guess it was the 14th night, the night just before the Independence Day we celebrated. And now we see these transfer orders. So, do you somewhere believe that there are attempts being made to somehow, merge, or I should rather say, to dilute the protest in any sorts of manner, some way or the other, or to let the doctors not protest against the authorities? Do you feel some attempts are being made in West Bengal
It's very
particularly?
difficult to uh, tell or pinpoint at this time why exactly the attack happened. We don't know whether it was from a political party or whether it was some kind of attempt to dilute the protests
Right.
or whether it was an attempt to vandalize the crime scene. I think that is the job of the Kolkata police, and we would urge them to work as soon as possible and catch the culprits who were involved in the mob so that we can find out what exactly was the reason behind this and the strict action should be taken against them.
There's a lot of politics going on this particular issue. There are multiple things being shared on the social media. Multiple speculations are being made. Some things are there which are very suspicious as well. You being a doctor, you being part of the protest, what do you particularly think that uh, things which are being said on social media that Kolkata police probably didn't work well to investigate the case initially? Now CBI has taken over the case. Are you hopeful of getting justice? I mean, I'm sure we'll get the justice, but are you hopeful of getting justice in time, or in particular time the protesters are demanding?
One of our major demands has always been that we wanted an immediate transfer of the case to the CBI because we felt that with the skill set which CBI has and the experience of solving such cases, they would be the best agency right now to do a very fair and transparent investigation. I think right now we should trust the CBI, and I would personally urge that the investigating agencies try their level best to catch the culprits in time so that we can get her justice.
There have been speculations made that this could have been a case of gang rape because there are reports which suggest that 150 milligram of semen samples were found, and that makes us think that this seems to be a gang rape. What are your thoughts on it?
I think the reports of the inquest which we saw when it was done, it's absolutely infuriating to any doctor who understands how brutal the crime was and how brutally she was murdered. It definitely points towards a gang rape. There is no doubt about it. But I feel that we should be awaiting further results from the investigation committee before we can tell exactly how many people were involved in this and how brutally she had to face what she had to.
Right. If you could tell me more about your protest plans ahead, how the RDA here, particularly in AIMS, is planning to take the protest ahead, because now when the case has been transferred to CBI, what are your plans ahead? Are you guys particularly working towards the draft of Central Protection Act?
Definitely, we have formed a National Action Committee for the Central Protection Act along with the RDS of Delhi and other colleges. We are very much firm that we don't want this kind of security lapse in the hospitals across the country lead to another such event. We will be staying firm on our protests till we get a very strong commitment from the government and a will from the government to show that they actually care about doctors and they actually want to do something about security at our workplaces through introduction of the Central Protection Act for healthcare professionals. And we right now are very firm that we would want the government to immediately pass an ordinance for enacting the same.
All right. Doctor, the two more things which I particularly want to discuss with you, because we have seen now Honorable Chief Minister of Bengal protesting on streets, demanding for justice. But when we talk about RGKar Medical Hospital, we have observed the research also suggests that it has a history of controversies with it. There have been multiple cases of sex racket, porn rackets which have been observed. There has been multiple suicides. The cases were later closed by the Kolkata police. Also, some reports suggest that CCTV cameras were not installed at the crime scene. There were multiple, loopholes inside the administration of the hospital. Do you think that there could have been better measures taken by the government of Bengal or the hospital administration? And if there were better measures taken, then we could have avoided this tragic incident.
I think the most important thing is the infrastructure. CCTV should always be working, number one. Secondly, there needs to be adequate security. anywhere in the hospital where uh, any doctor, female doctor or male doctor, who has to um, go through a corridor or a dark corridor. I am from Jipmar. We had adequate security there. At the end of every corridor, there was security personnel. But in state colleges, that is lacking. Today, it happened with her. Another day, it can happen with anyone else. We cannot know right now, right? And also, I think there should be adequate duty doctors' rooms which can be locked from inside if someone is sleeping inside, which is not the case in most of the hospitals in the peripheries of the
Right.
country.
This actually is a very basic demand. I think you should have. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think the healthcare infrastructure needs to be boosted, and even the NMC should not be giving any allowances or approvals to the hospitals being set up unless they have a duty doctor's room in every ward for a male and female doctor. So I think
Right.
these should be very basic things which the NMC, which is responsible for giving approval for hospitals and medical colleges, they should be ensuring before they give any approval.
All right, let me just come back to the transfer orders for now. How do you see it? Do you think that these orders, particularly because they are individual transfer orders, so I'm believing that the teachers who were protesting particularly must have been under scrutiny by the authorities. So now they have been transferred. Do you believe that it is somehow going to impact the protest or the scale of the protest or the morale of the protesters?
I think this was an attempt to diminish the morale of the protest. But being from West Bengal, I know that these are very petty tactics and very cheap tactics. And on a personal note, I feel that students and resident doctors of West Bengal, as well as the entire medical fraternity of West Bengal, who have come together, they will get above it and they will keep continuing their right and fight for justice.
Now, Gautam, my one last question to you. As you just mentioned, you're from West Bengal, and Mamata Banerjee, she happens to be the only female chief minister in our country. And West Bengal has been alleged initially from the very early days that there's a sort of arbitrariness in the state, authoritativeness in the state. And now what we see in the West Bengal, the protests going on, how the mob attacks are protest, now these transfer orders. Do you have certain sort of opinion about how things work in West Bengal? Do you also believe that the administration or the authorities are not that much responsive as they should be towards such incidents?
To be very honest, I have been born and brought up in West Bengal, and I have been outside the state for almost around 10 years. I definitely go back to West Bengal to visit my parents every year. I have seen that there is a change in the political culture of West Bengal, in the sense that there has been a different uh, awareness about politics in the state. I would say it's in a very positive way.
Okay.
Yes. I personally haven't faced any kind of political vindictiveness yet.
All right.
Maybe if I am at the receiving end of such vindictiveness, my opinions will be different. But on a personal level, I haven't been at the receiving end yet. So I don't think I have seen the kind of arbitrariness you're talking about. Though we read a lot of things on social media, definitely.
Yeah, I'm just referring to the social media
Yeah.
only. I'm not personally.
But commenting on something on social media without having
Which-
first-hand experience, I think it would be irresponsible for me. So I can only talk about the experience which I have had, which till now have been fine.
which is a good thing to know. Now, if we talk about these transfer orders particularly, if you believe that these doctors or faculty members have been deliberately targeted, so what do you think could have been a reason behind it?
I think I spoke with a couple of students there, and they were very clear that these were the uh, faculty who were very much supportive of the strike by the students and resident doctors. And this is an order which has never happened in the recent past. So I think this definitely is a vindictive measure which is being done by the state government to suppress the voices who are trying to protest, and also they are trying to use all possible measures so that this entire environment in social media
Right.
regarding this injustice happening, that so that they can thwart that.
All right. All right, Dr. Datta, thank you so much for speaking to us. It was great listening to you, ladies and gentlemen. This was Dr. Datta speaking to us. Certain developments have been observed throughout the day. Yesterday there were certain developments. Today we have observed some developments. We are all hoping for the best. We are all hoping for the justice to be served as soon as possible. The CBI is doing its work. What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts about the transfer orders which have been mentioned later at night? Please let us know in the comment box. This is Harshit Sharma signing off for Mojo Story with camera person Madan Lal.